Hello friends, and welcome to another video from my series Quick Thoughts On, in which I always talk about different stories from the rich Star Trek universe. 30 years and many weeks ago the next episode of Star Trek The Next Generation premiered. It was called The Price, and these are my honest opinions about it. The Price is boring. I'm sorry, I am not interested in romantic stories. I find 99% of romantic movies boring. This is a romantic episode and I think it's boring. I tried to watch it twice, and both of the times I found myself playing with my phone after a couple of minutes. So, the A story is pretty boring. Is at least the B plot interesting? Well, kind of. So, I guess it's time to say something about the plot, right? The Enterprise is the place of negotiations for the rights to the Barzan wormhole. Oh wait, I missed some important scene in Troy's quarters. She gets mail, and she wants chocolate. And she's pissed that she has to go to join the delegates when Picard calls her to 10 forward. That was absolutely important. On 10 forward, we are introduced to Prime Minister Bohani from the planet Barzan 2 and the negotiators. Seth Mendoza representing the Federation, Leor represents the Caledonians, and Devinoni Ral is a human, but he represents the Chrysalians. And I had to Google all of the names. That's the type of impact they had on me, even though they are supposed to be very important to the story. And Devinoni Ral is a creep who looks like he wants something from Troy, and he doesn't care if she wants him, to say it in a YouTube-friendly way. Now, Devinoni Ral is supposed to be human. Is there any language in which his name sounds normal? Don't forget that he's a white guy. This is an honest question. Is that a normal human name in some language? All of the other human characters have normal human names, but when I put Devinoni into Google, I found only references for this episode. I don't like this character, I don't like creepy dudes, and he is a very creepy dude. The wormhole appears to be the first stable wormhole ever found and opens itself every 233 minutes. According to the Barzans, the second end is in the Gamma Quadrant, and because the Barzans have no use for it, they want to sell the rights to the highest bidder. They are soon joined by a Ferengi delegation who invite themselves to the negotiations. When Troy gets back to headquarters, she starts to search for private information about Devinoni Ral. You know, I'm getting sick of saying Devinoni Ral. I'll call him Creepy Dev. Speaking about Creepy Dev, he comes inside. Not inside of Deanna, but only headquarters. Coming into Deanna will happen slightly later. First, he has to do something creepy. He starts to play with her hair. She looks terrified and I'm confused. I don't know what to say. I would compare him to Joe Biden, but he doesn't sniff her hair and she isn't old as his great-granddaughter, so I'm just speechless. Meanwhile, in the at least slightly interesting plotline, Picard and his people are not satisfied with the Barzan data, so he orders Data and Geordi to go to check for themselves. Of course, the Ferengi find it out and decide to join them. I really like how the Ferengi are used to invite themselves into situations. Creepy Dev and Troy dance the horizontal tango, if you know what I mean, because she loves him now, even though she was creeped out by him in the previous scene. You see why I don't like these so-called romantic stories. If this was real life, Creepy Dev would end up in jail, but here he gets the girl he wants. The Ferengi meanwhile poison Mendes or Mendoza or whatever, so he is gone from the negotiations. Well, he was pretty important to the story, wasn't he? So now Riker takes his place. Geordi and Data take their shuttle, and together with the Ferengi shuttle they go through the wormhole, but something is very wrong, because they appear in the Delta Quadrant instead of the Gamma Quadrant. Meanwhile on the ship, Deanna and Dr. Crusher do some exercising, and I don't know where people meant to be jerking off to this. Why is this scene so sexual? They even talk about sex. You know, when I want to see some nice girl-on-girl action, there are different websites for this. I don't need that stuff on my Star Trek. Back in the interesting part of the plot, the Ferengi daemon pretends that he wants to destroy the wormhole by shooting at it. The Enterprise shoots down his missile and Picard orders a red alert, drawing Riker out of the negotiations and leaving only Creepy Dev and the Prime Minister alone. So when they later arrive to the bridge, we are told something which I guess is supposed to be a shock. Creepy Dev and the Barzan Prime Minister have made a deal, and Dev now pretends he wants to negotiate with the Ferengi. But Deanna shuts him down. You see, Creepy Dev is not a human. He's a half-human, half-betazoid, just like Deanna, and he also has empathic powers just like her. So I guess that's the reason why they fell in love? I don't really want to think about it, because thinking about it would mean I care. So he's using his powers for the good of his customers, similar to what Deanna is doing, but she claims that what she's doing is somehow different. I guess because she's not paid? I don't really know, I'm siding with the villain here. He also conspired with the Ferengi to get the Barzan Prime Minister to agree with him. So, hooray, the villain of this episode is shown to be the villain of this episode. I don't know why I feel the need to check my email suddenly. Meanwhile, in the slightly interesting plotline, Data and Geordi find out that they are in the Delta Quadrant, which means that the wormhole is not stable. Geordi warns the Ferengi that they should immediately leave with them, but the Ferengi don't listen. And when Data and Geordi try to fly inside the wormhole, the opening closes and the two Ferengi are stuck in the Delta Quadrant. And they will stay there until they will be found by the USS Voyager in the TV show Star Trek Voyager. When Geordi and Data return, they can tell the truth, that the wormhole is worthless, so the villain of the episode won nothing. Wow, this episode is so boring to me. I don't care about Deanna Troi's sex life. I don't care about any crew member's sex life, to be perfectly honest. If you watch this channel for a long time, you probably know that I'm not a fan of romantic movies, unless the romantic plot is only a subplot in a much better story, or if the romantic plot is really well done, or at least slightly, I don't know, realistic or something. Look at this episode. Woman sees man, is immediately attracted to him, he does something creepy, and they end up in bed. She says how much she loves him, and then she betrays him. The end. So, what did I like about this episode? Well, I liked the wormhole idea, I liked the design of the Barzan Prime Minister, I liked most of the effects, I liked the idea of the Ferengi being trapped in the Delta Quadrant for a couple of years. And yeah, that's about it. I don't care about absolutely anything else going in this episode. But I'm clearly not the target demographic for this type of story. If you liked the romantic part, cool. As I always say, it's absolutely normal that different people have different opinions about different things. If you like this episode, I'm glad you found something in it what I didn't, but I can't like it. On my standard scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is absolute garbage, 10 is a masterpiece, and 5 is just average, I would give this episode 3 out of 10. It has a bunch of really good elements, but I just don't care about most of the stuff. But as always, these were just my opinions. Please let me know what did you think about this episode. Did you love it, hate it, or do you think it was just average? Let me know down in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you have some free time, you can watch any of the other videos on my channel. You should see some links on screen right now. Thank you very much for watching and see you very soon, probably tomorrow. Bye.